my fellow wizards! Level 30 is your first big gear upgrade in the game where you'll want to graduate from plain old Bazaar gear to farming gear from specific bosses to give yourself a major power boost that can oftentimes carry you all the way to level 60. Now, the most obvious and popular gear pieces at level 30 are definitely the Zeus and Senator sets from the Mount Olympus dungeon in Aquila. However, if you want the best of the best, there are several other sets to consider, including those from Gauntlets, skeleton key bosses, and more. So today I'm here with the ultimate gear guide for every school where I'll cover your best free choices at level 30 so you can get the optimal stats to take on any challenge and breeze through the first arc with no problems. Before we get into each school's options, I want to cover all the existing gear sets we'll be talking about and comparing and where to get them, since most of the optimal sets for each school are actually a combination of several different types of gear. First, we have our old reliable Zeus and Senator's gear from the Mount Olympus dungeon in Aquila. The Senator's gear is the tier 2 or second best gear set, while Zeus is your best option at tier 1. With some of the most well-rounded stats at this level, you really cannot go wrong with either one, but other gear sets do outdamage them in some cases. Senator's gear tends to drop more frequently than Zeus gear and can also be upgraded to adept gear via a crafting recipe from the NPC Kalkos Coppersmith in Aquila if you have the adept crafter badge. It's well worth upgrading Senator's gear to adept, and for some schools the adept gear is actually better than the Zeus gear counterpart, so I really recommend it. And if you find yourself struggling with completing the crafting quests needed to get the adept badge, you can check out my in-depth crafting guide as well. Now let's focus on the Zeus gear. As of writing this video, PC players have received the Aquila Chronicle update from earlier this year, while console players have not, so my advice here is going to differ slightly depending on what platform you're on. For PC players, Zeus's gear drops used to be school locked, meaning he'd only drop gear for your character's native school. So if you're a Storm Wizard, he'd only drop Storm Zeus gear pieces. However, after the Aquila Chronicle update, Zeus now drops gear for all schools regardless of your character's native school. This has led some players to speculate that the drop rate is now worse because there's a larger drop pool. However, it's been confirmed by the devs that the drop rate for your native school remains exactly the same. So if you're a Storm Wizard and still just want Storm gear, the drop rate for that gear is the exact same as before the update. It's just there's also the chance you'll get some Zeus gear for other schools as well. Along with this change, a pity system was added to the NPC Kalkos Coppersmith. Now, if you defeat Zeus 35 times, you'll earn the Zeus Loosener badge and will be able to craft any Zeus gear you want using the new reagent, Olympian Dust, that drops from the final bosses of each Aquila dungeon. So if you have a higher level wizard that wants to grind out the badge and then craft any Zeus gear for your lower level wizards, you can now do that. Or if you're just level 30 and just not getting the drops you want, once you hit 35 Zeus defeats, you should be able to craft what you need. Now, for those on console, the Aquila Chronicle update is not yet live, so for you guys, there is no pity system, and Zeus's tier 1 drops are still school locked. So you'll need to farm the gear with the wizard you want the gear for. So if you want Zeus's life gear, you need to farm him with a life wizard until console catches up to PC on updates. Senator's gear is not a school lock drop no matter if you're on PC or console, so if you just want Senator's gear to upgrade to adept gear, you can farm with whatever level or school you want. However, the real star of the show here is the Sky Iron Hosta Wand. This wand is a guaranteed drop from the boss Ares Savage Spear toward the end of the dungeon and gives a massive 10% universal damage boost, meaning it's a fantastic option for every single school. You only need to finish the dungeon once to get it, and it's hands down your best option for many levels to come. So at minimum, if you don't want to farm for anything else in this video, at least do the Mount Olympus dungeon one time to get it. You will not regret it. Okay, moving on, let's talk about several gauntlets that can actually offer gear pieces that are even better than Mount Olympus gear in some cases. Gauntlets are standalone dungeons that players can purchase from bundles and place in their house to use over and over again. Thankfully, for those who don't already own a particular gauntlet or don't want to pay for one, you can use any gauntlet placed in a house as long as you are friends with the owner. If you don't have any friends already with the correct gauntlet, I recommend asking in the official Wizard101 Discord, which I'll link below, as people are always willing to lend their gauntlets out so you don't have to spend a dime to access them. The two main ones that come to mind for the best level 30 gear are the greatclock and unforgivendead gauntlets. Now, all gauntlets have various level tiers that change the difficulty of the dungeon and the types of drops available. When you enter a gauntlet, the tier will be determined by the lowest level wizard that enters. So to get the correct tier of gauntlet, you need to make sure that the lowest level wizard in your group is within the level bracket for that tier. So, for example, to get the level 30 gear drops from the greatclock gauntlet, you need to enter at tier 2 for levels 20 through 39. So, your lowest level wizard in the group needs to fall somewhere between levels 20 and 39, or you won't enter the correct tier. Make sense? At tier 2, the greatclock gauntlet drops level 30 gear from the Phoenix Hoard pack, and the best drops come from the final boss, Lucia. The robes in particular have very high damage for this level, so they're what we're most interested in. I'll mainly be showing the Smoldering Vengeance armor robes in this video, but there are also Glorious Avengers armor robes that are almost identical, so keep that in mind. Then for the Unforgivendead Gauntlet, you'll want to enter at Tier 1 for levels 1 through 50, where you can get drops from the Unforgiven Hoard pack, including level 10 through 50 gear. The final boss, Banri drops the hats, robes, boots, wands, and pets, while the secret boss, Grounds Creeper Willy, drops the wands and permanent mounts. You can find him by taking a right from the doors leading to the final boss and following the path around to a cave entrance. We're most interested in the hats that can offer some pretty solid damage, and the wands that offer a great pierce and accuracy focused alternative to the Sky Iron Hosta wand from Mount Olympus. Now let's shift over to level 30 gear from gold skeleton key bosses. The two main ones we care about are Kingborr in Grizzleheim and baronvonbracken in Wisteria. Just like the gauntlets, gold skeleton key bosses have different tiers and drops depending on the level of the players entering, with the lowest level player in the group determining the tier. Unfortunately, unlike gauntlets, if a higher level player from outside the level bracket is part of the group, they will get no drops from defeating the boss and will instead just get participation trophies, which are currently a useless reagent. So make sure you enter with players who are all in the correct level tier so you can all get drops. And if you need tips on any of the boss cheats and what drops they have, or how to get gold skeleton keys in the first place, I recommend checking out my other guides on the topic. You'll find our first boss, Kingborr, underneath the waterfall in Savrasted Pass, and you'll want to enter at Tier 1 for levels 1 through 30 to get drops from the Grizzleheim lore pack. Thankfully, at Tier 1, Kingborr has no cheats to worry about, so it's as simple as defeating him like you would any other boss. The hats he drops from the 3 different gear sets have some amazing damage on them for this level, so depending on your school, these can be a huge upgrade. Then our second boss, Baronvonbracken, can be found in a house in the north of Tanglewood Way in Wisteria. You'll want to enter at Tier 1 for levels 1 through 35 to get drops from the Wisteria Spelemental pack. Unfortunately, at this tier, baronvonbracken still does have some cheats to worry about, so come prepared, but he does drop some pretty amazing boots for this level that are a fantastic upgrade for most schools. Now, while this video is focused on free gear that doesn't require spending real money to get, I do want to include one pack in this section, the Professor's Hoard pack. There are actually a number of free ways to earn this pack in-game, and it has such good stats and item cards at level 30 that I think it would be crazy to not include it in this guide. Both the Spiral Showcase and Spiral Scene events offer a Professor's Hoard pack as a reward for getting enough event points, and technically you can do Wizard101 trivia daily to earn a free 100 crowns per day as well, with the pack costing 399 crowns each to open. So the gear in this pack is definitely a bit harder to access in a free way, but there are options. The main appeal of this pack at level 30 are the amazing damage stats on the hats and boots, as well as some incredibly useful item cards on the hats. Some of the best item cards include a life feint that stacks with regular feints, and the mass feint item card on the death hat that applies a feint to all enemies. Normally, Fire's hat would also give the overpowered Incendiate item card that detonates all damage over time effects on an enemy for double damage, but unfortunately at level 30, the Fire hat gives the card Immolate instead. Another great thing about this pack is that unlike many other packs, you're guaranteed to get at least one gear piece per pack opening, so you won't just be stuck with useless furniture items, treasure cards, and reagents. So altogether, this pack is well worth the event or trivia grind to get a few free openings while you're farming for other pieces in this guide. Moving on from the main gear pieces, let's talk about your best options for athames, amulets, rings, and decks. First, we have the level 25 Hollow Mountain gear dropped by Master Tonkatsu in Kembaalung Village off of Krakatopia. Here we're mostly interested in the athames, amulets, and decks that Tonkatsu drops since they offer both solid pip chance and item cards at this level, but also some nice triangle slots on the athames and decks for slotting in accuracy or pip chance jewels, which are very much needed at this level. Master Tonkatsu is the final boss in the Hollow Mountain dungeon and can be a bit of a challenge at level 30, so consider teaming up or bringing friends to help you. And do note that his tier 1 drops are all school locked, so you do need to farm him with the wizard you want the gear on. As an added bonus, he does have a second chance chest if you want to spend a few crowns to roll for some extra drops if you didn't get what you wanted. There's also some solid athames and rings with high pip chance that drop from a number of enemies in Marleybone, including Meowyardy in Big Ben, Old Smoky in the Ironworks, Clanker in Katzenstein's Lab, Sprockets in Counterweight East, Bellows in Counterweight West, and Jack the Scratcher in Knight's Court. Another specific athame that I think is worth mentioning is the Heartsteel athame that can be bought outright from the Crown Shop for quite cheap, or farmed from Prince Gobblestone and Colossus Boulevard. It offers a massive 5 universal resist, which is pretty huge at this level, so this is a solid defensive option for most schools and can easily be gotten for free by doing a few days of free trivia. Finally, when all else fails, there's some decent Bazaar themes, amulets, rings, and decks that can be a great alternative if you don't feel like farming a bunch of bosses. What in particular I want to highlight is actually not available until level 35, but I figured it was worth mentioning. Tamaji's Discerning Dagger can be found fairly easily at the Bazaar and stands out for its 2 triangle slots, which are very rare to come across. You can slot either accuracy or pip jewels here to get a pretty decent stat boost at this level, so definitely another solid option to consider as you continue to level up. Finally, for jewels, your most valuable options are going to be accuracy and pip chance jewels, both of which require triangle-shaped jewel slots. Jewels increase in strength every 10 levels, so you'll want the level 25 plus jewels at level 30 before upgrading again once you hit level 35. This guide will assume you are level 30 specifically, so you should have access to 3% accuracy jewels for every school and then 2% pip chance jewels. Both of these can fairly easily be found at the Bazaar, so you can simply buy them and either unlock your jewel slots using a few crowns or farm for socket wrenches to unlock them for free. Besides prioritizing boosting your accuracy and pip chance, I also recommend slotting at least one Archmastery Jewel so you can access school pips before level 50. School pips are required for certain spells like the lore spell, some of which are incredibly helpful at low levels like the 4-pip AoEs for life and death wizards, rat spin, and deer knight. Wizards don't naturally gain Archmastery to use school pips until level 50, but if you buy an Archmastery Jewel from Catherine Rockhammer in the shopping district of Wizard City, you can slot one in either an empty tier or square jewel slot to gain Archmastery early. I have in-depth guides on both Archmastery and which gold key bosses drop lore spell elements to unlock these spells if you're interested. I do want to say that at level 30, you can pretty easily handle mainline questing through level 60 with a combination of Zeus or Senator's gear, so definitely don't feel like you have to min-max to succeed, even if you're soloing. I'm going to offer multiple builds here for both people who want the best of the best gear, and people who just want more balanced, easy options that'll get them through PvE content without too much difficulty, so hopefully all different types of players will find something useful here. Alright, with all that out of the way, here are your best gear options at level 30 for every school, starting with fire. You're going to want the Wotan's Helm with the best fire damage stat, with Dahlia's Hat as an alternative with the better pip chance and accuracy. Then there's Zeus's Blazing Sun Raiment, which barely wins out against the Smoldering Vengeance armor with the same damage, but better accuracy, health, and resist, although I will note that the armor comes with a solid Elemental Blade item card. For the boots, you want the Wisteria Warrior's boots with Dahlia's Sweltering Shoes as a solid backup with less damage but better pip chance. Normally, I'd then recommend the Sky Iron Hosta, but actually in Fire's case, the Wisteria Warrior's Claymore is a better option because while it offers the same 10% damage for fire, it also gives you balance wand hits along with fire ones. Off-school wand hits help a lot with removing weaknesses or universal shields without using up your school's native buffs, so for that reason I think the Wisteria Claymore has better utility here. After that, you'll want the Power-Infused Blade dropped by Old Smoky with both a triangle slot and the best pip chance, though the Temple Guardian's Flame Tusk and Heartsteel are still good alternatives. Then the Monk's Choker of Asperity offers both a health boost and fire trap item card, with the Champion's Decoy Choker as a nice secondary option that can be bought from the Bazaar, also with a fire trap item card. Finally, you'll want the Ringlet of Fire from Bellows, with the Widow's Breakneck Ring from the Bazaar as a backup, and Sutsui's Mighty Hand with the triangle slot, that you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 52 damage, 3 resist, 26% pip chance, and 10% accuracy before socketing any jewels. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do full Zeus gear with the Heartsteel Athame and Bazaar bot ring, amulet, and deck to instead net you 37 damage, 7 resist, 17% pip chance, and 14% accuracy before slotting any jewels. Moving on to Storm, you'll want the Odin's Helm for the highest storm damage, which barely beats Zeus's Helm of Tumult, though the latter has better accuracy. Then it's a close contest between the Zeus's Thunderclap Drape and the Adept's Raincloud Toga. For the boots, you'll then want Helston's Stormy Slippers, though the Wisteria Warrior's Solarettes are a great alternative. For the wand, the Sky Iron Hasta is your best option, though the Highlands Warrior Staff offers an interesting secondary option with Pierce and Accuracy. After that is the Electric Chris, dropped by Clinker, with high pip chance and a triangle jewel slot, though the Blizzard of Ninja Steel or Heart Steel are still good alternatives. Then Hamakalla's Amulet of Havoc offers both a health boost and storm trap item card, with the Sakui's Necklace of the Skies as a nice secondary option that can be bought from the Bazaar, also with a storm trap item card. Finally, you'll want the Widow's Breakneck Ring or Exquisite Band from the Bazaar, both with decent pip chance, and the Arcana of Cacophony with a triangle slot, though you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 49 damage, 3 resist, 30% pip chance, and 10% accuracy before socketing any jewels. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do full Zeus gear with the Heartsteel of Fame and Bazaar bot Ring, Amulet, and Deck to instead net you 45 damage, 6 resist, 18% pip chance, and 16% accuracy before slotting any jewels. Next, for Ice Wizards, you'll want the Highlands Champion's Balmoral with its decent accuracy and resist, though Odin's Helm does have better pip chance. Then we have the Smoldering Vengeance Armor with its high damage and very useful Elemental Blade, with the Highlands Champion's Kit as a more balanced secondary option. For the boots, you'll then want the Wisteria Warrior Sabatons, though Lydia's Frozen Foot Wraps are a great alternative. For the wand, the Sky Iron Hasta is your best option, though the Highlands Champion Staff offers an interesting secondary option with Pierce and Accuracy. After that is the Blade of Frost, dropped by Jack the Scratcher, with high pip chance and a triangle jewel slot, though the Himalayan Ice Flow Dagger or Heart Steel are still good alternatives. Then the Himalayan Woolly Collar offers both a health boost and ice trap item card, with the Pendant of the Icy Soul as a nice secondary option that can be bought from the Bazaar, also with an ice trapped item card. Finally, you'll want the Band of Ice dropped by Meow Yardy, with the Widow's Breakneck Ring from the Bazaar as a nice backup, and the Gallery of Kembaalung with a triangle slot, though you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 41 damage, 8 resist, 22% pip chance, and 12% accuracy before socketing any jewels. I do want to note that if you're willing to slot in the Highlands Champions kit instead of the Smoldering Vengeance armor, you can get perfect accuracy once you slot 2 3% accuracy jewels at the cost of 4 damage. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do full Zeus gear with the Heartsteel of Fame and Bazaar bot Ring, Amulet, and Deck to instead net you 27 damage, 12 resist, 17% pip chance, and 12% accuracy before slotting any jewels. Shifting over to life, it's a close competition between the Allfather's Helm with superior damage and Melinda's Hardy Head Wrap with better pip chance, accuracy, and the incredibly valuable Feint item card that stacks with regular feints. In my opinion, the utility of that life feint outweighs the slight damage boost you'd get by picking the Allfather's Helm, but you can pick based on what you'd like to prioritize. Then we have the Smoldering Vengeance armor with its high damage and very useful elemental blade, with the Adept Stirring Toga as a more balanced secondary option that is actually better than the Zeus Life Robe. For the boots, you'll then want the Wisteria Warrior Solarettes, though Melinda's Spirit Sandals are a great alternative. For the wand, the Sky Iron Hasta is your best option, though the Highlands Malicious Staff offers an interesting secondary option with Pierce and Accuracy. After that is the Claw of Monastic Devotion with high pip chance and a triangle jewel slot, though Heartsteel is still a good defensive alternative. Then the Monk's Bauble of Constancy offers both a health boost and life trap item card, with the Troll Ear Pendant as a nice secondary option that can be bought from the Bazaar for more of a support focus with a Guiding Light item card. Finally, you'll want the Widow's Breakneck Ring or Exquisite Band from the Bazaar, both with decent pip chance, and the Deck of Beguiling Song with a triangle slot, that you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 39 damage, 4 resist, 29% pip chance, and 10% accuracy before socketing any jewels, and you actually get perfect accuracy for most life spells without socketing anything. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do a combo of Zeus and Adept gear with the Heartsteel of Fame and Bazaar bot Ring, Amulet, and Deck to instead net you 34 damage, 7 resist, 19% pip chance, and 8% accuracy before slotting any jewels. And note that if you socket at least one accuracy jewel, you should also achieve perfect accuracy for most life spells. Now let's focus on Death, where it's another close contest between Wotan's Helm with superior damage and Dworgen's Havoc Helm with better pip chance, accuracy, and the amazing Mass Feint item card that applies a feint on all enemies. The strength and utility of this item card alone makes Dworgen's Hood win out for me personally, but you can pick either based on your preferences. Then we again have the Smoldering Vengeance armor with its high damage and very useful elemental blade, with Zeus's Cloak of Fate as a more balanced secondary option. For the boots, you'll then want the Wisteria Warrior Solarettes, though Dworgen's Dire Boots are a great alternative. For the wand, the Sky Iron Hasta is your best option, though the Highlands Hero Staff offers an interesting secondary choice with Pierce and Accuracy. After that is the Asura's Razor of Calamity with high pip chance and a triangle jewel slot, though Heartsteel is still a good defensive alternative. Then the Hoof Choker of Eradication offers both a health boost and death trap item card, with Bastia's Deadly Choker as a nice secondary option that can be bought from the Bazaar, also with a death trap item card. Finally, you'll want the Widow's Breakneck Ring or Exquisite Band from the Bazaar, both with decent pip chance, and Tonkatsu's Deck of Discord with a triangle slot, that you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 41 damage, 4 resist, 27% pip chance, and 10 accuracy before socketing any jewels, and you actually get perfect accuracy for most death spells if you socket at least 2 accuracy jewels. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do full Zeus gear with the Heartsteel Athame and Bazaar bot ring, amulet, and deck to instead net you 34 damage, 7 resist, 19% pip chance, and 9% accuracy before slotting any jewels. We're getting close to the end here with Myth, where you'll want the Allfather's Helm for the superior Myth damage, though Cyrus's Secret Skullcap does offer better pip chance and accuracy. Then we have our good old Smoldering Vengeance armor with its high damage and very useful elemental blade, with Zeus's Armor of Supremacy as a more balanced secondary option. For the boots, you'll then want the Wisteria Warrior Sabatons, though Cyrus's Scholarly Striders are a great alternative. For the wand, the Sky Iron Hasta is your best option, though the Highlands Soldier Staff offers an interesting secondary choice with Pierce and Accuracy. After that is the Marleybone, a Theme of Awesomeness with high pip chance and a triangle jewel slot that can actually just be bought outright from Kaiser Halam in the Athame and Hat Shop in Krakatopia, though the Edge of the Hollow Mountain or Heartsteel are still good alternatives. Then the Vial of Fabled Shangri-Ba offers both a health boost and Myth Trap item card, with Swift Arrows Necklace as a nice secondary option that can be bought from the Bazaar, also with a Myth Trap item card. Finally, you'll want the Ring of Clarity dropped by Sprockets, with the Widow's Breakneck Ring for the Bazaar as a nice backup, and the Pack of the Tuned Mind with a triangle slot that you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 45 damage, 5 resist, 26% pip chance, and 8% accuracy before socketing any jewels. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do full Zeus gear with the Marleybone, a Theme of Awesomeness, and Bazaar bot ring, amulet, and deck to instead net you 37 damage, 2 resist, 26% pip chance, and 11% accuracy before slotting any jewels. We're finally at our last school, Balance. We'll want the Highlands Raiders Balmoral, which barely wins out over the Zeus's Helm of Authority for me due to its better accuracy, but you can really go with either choice. Then we have the Smoldering Vengeance armor with its high damage and very useful elemental blade, with Zeus's Robes of Judgment as a more balanced secondary option. For the boots, you'll then want the Wisteria Warriors boots, though Alhazred's Consistent Clogs are a great alternative. For the wand, the Sky Iron Hasta is your best option, though the Highlands Raider Staff offers an interesting secondary choice with Pierce and Accuracy. After that is the Path of Harmony Hook with high pip chance and a triangle jewel slot, though Heartsteel is still a good defensive alternative. Then the Dalai Lama's Harmony Vial offers both a health boost and some truly fantastic item cards, including both a stackable Universal Blade and Feint item card. This amulet is arguably useful even into the late game, both for soloing and group, so this is an amazing option if you can get it. The Path of Harmony amulet isn't quite as good, but does offer a Fate item card still, whereas normally you have to wait till at least level 50 to find an amulet with a Fate item card. So either of these amulets is still a powerful upgrade at this level. Finally, you'll want the Widow's Breakneck Ring or Exquisite Band from the Bazaar, both with decent pip chance, and the Ensemble of the Harmonious with a triangle slot, that you can also grab the Deck of the Lotus from the Bazaar. All these pieces combined will net you 42 damage, 5 resist, 20% pip chance, and 12% accuracy before socketing any jewels, and you actually get perfect accuracy for most balance spells if you socket at least 1 accuracy jewel. However, if you want a more balanced build with primarily Mount Olympus and Bazaar gear, you can also do full Zeus gear with the Heartsteel Athame and Bazaar butt ring, amulet, and deck to instead net you 33 damage, 7 resist, 19% pip chance, and 9% accuracy before slotting any jewels. Alright, my fellow wizards, that was my ultimate guide on the best free level 30 gear for every school. Definitely let me know what your favorite gear combinations are for your school and whether you prefer min-maxing or just blazing through as quickly as possible. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it really does help me to make more amazing Wiz content for you all. And if you want to support me and the channel further, you can hit the join button below to become one of my awesome channel members. As always, I hope to see you out there in the spiral, and happy questing!